Sometimes when we look back at the past, we feel like it was truly something special. And for me, that was the same, but perhaps that time wasn't as joyous as I thought it was, looking back. So what is this room? It's my room from high school. Well, before I went into homeschooling, and then my floorboards got destroyed by water or something. This is a little table I used to have and it has my laptop on it, and this is where I would make videos in the past. There was some cupboards on this side, a big mess in front of my bed, some paper over here, and side table. One of the most distinct things that I remember from that time, though, was how much I destroyed myself during that time. What do I mean by that? Almost every night, I stuck my phone into my room, and I watched things that I wish I never watched. I got very much into YIF even before I knew what a furry was. And if I was to give any advice to a young person right now watching this, it's please don't watch porn. It genuinely ruined my life. No one in my life at the time knew this about me, but almost every night I would sneak my phone into my room, generally by a backpack underneath my table, and would open E621, probably a website that you're familiar with, and watch and read porn for hours. Perhaps it was me trying to find a stress relief for how poorly school was going. I had a fairly horrible time in high school. Probably partially because, although I'm not diagnosed, I believe I probably am neurodivergent. I got so distracted by things. The science room was always too cold. Math, I was put behind all my classmates, and every single student was required to have their laptop open, and almost every student played games behind the teacher's back. I didn't notice this, but my parents did. My grades were dropping, and I wasn't even really sure why. I was horrible at homework. I barely did homework. I always tried to bite off more than I could chew with school projects. It was one of the only aspects of school I found enjoyable, but only really the idea process. I never worked in groups. I didn't feel wanted in groups. Every time I went into a group project, I just felt I fell behind. For some reason, I would just randomly freeze sometimes, and I couldn't get myself back together, and no one seemed like they knew why I did this or how to solve the issue. Eventually, whatever it was that was stressing me out got to me, and I resigned in quotation from school. And what I mean by that is I just stopped going by choice. That is, there reached a point where my parents couldn't take me to school, so I had to take myself using public transport. And there came a point where I just started choosing to not go to school. In this newly acquired time, I would watch shows that weren't good for me, and more porn, you guessed it. I do remember this one time when I closed the door to my room and booted out one album that resonated with me a lot at the time, for whatever reason, and just listened to it as I stared out the window. I found furry as an escape from these stresses that I didn't quite understand. A lot of the time I would blame myself for my stress because it seemed like there was no cause, so obviously I was the issue. I don't think I realized it at the time, but I think I hated myself. For a long time, I struggled to believe that God loved me. I thought I had to earn God, but little did I know that that was impossible. And perhaps the more I tried, the more I crushed myself under the weight of all the things I was doing to escape. I was so subconsciously afraid. I don't think I even realized how afraid I was. Perhaps that's one thing that weighed on me, that made school so stressful. I kept searching for love, for places that would give me some sort of security, but I guess I just couldn't find anything. I know it doesn't sound like I experienced a ton. I mean, I have a friend that lost their mother, their sister, and got raped. But in a sense, we're all the same. We all experience some sort of pain. And even when our life seems perfect, life seems to find a way to kick us in the teeth. Coming back to the title of this video, I don't think that when I look back at all the moments of my life, I'm particularly nostalgic about them in the traditional sense. There was great peace in spending time in my room, looking out the window, perhaps going on walks. Perhaps there was this game that I spent an hour making after school every day before I went home. But other than that, my social life was a wreck. School stressed me out beyond what I probably could even understand. I definitely didn't catch it, but my parents did. I let YIF be my source of joy in life. Looking back, life wasn't simpler. Life stabbed me in the back multiple times. I think there were good things about that time, but I think I have to acknowledge that over time, I've noticed a greater sense of joy in my life. Perhaps you look back at your own life and see the same thing, a life that was simpler but at the same time more depressing. For me, living longer has shown me that there is something worth living for, which is perhaps why I made this channel, to show that your life's valuable, even if you don't see it now. Perhaps that's all I'll leave you with. I just want you to know that your suffering will come to an end. That just as the sun rises, it also sets. And it's the same with problems. And who knows, maybe that problem is a blessing in disguise that you haven't seen the other side of yet. Love you all, God loves you more. I'll see you later.